What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to listen. Yes, I hope that you all are enjoying your weekend. Today, I wanted to come on and speak about how history indeed repeats itself. Yes? Between 1950 and 1990 in East Germany, there was a program that was referred to as the Stasi. It ran in correlation with the ZZerg organization. The Stasi was an official secret police and secret state service that enlisted civilian informants to spy on the community. These civilian informants, when it started, there were over 91,000 unofficial civilian collaborators that collaborated with the government in order to spy and watch certain civilian individuals. Individuals that they perceived were going against the regime. So what happened was they recruited these civilians, and at the peak of this recruitment, there were over 180,000 unofficial collaborators that were hired or directed to spy on everyday, unsuspecting civilians. Like I said, what they were doing was they were controlling the population, because they perceived that these people may have been going against the government in some type of way. History, indeed, repeats itself. There were records kept for years. There's a massive archive of photos, recordings of millions of East Germans. Right. The Stasi was the most repressive police organization in the world. They also used no-touch psychological torture. Just like the so-called Gangstalking that's happening across the world right now. In 2025 and previous to that. So they did use psychological no-touch torture. They used torture and intimidation. It ultimately contributed to over 250,000 civilians being stalked, harassed, even arrested because they were perceived to go against the regimen. Today, those 250,000 civilians might look like the awakened empath, the self-healer, the psychic, the person that can remote view, the person that can read astrology, the person that can read the stars. A lot of people are part of this experiment because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I believe that the majority of us are people who they perceive to have gone against the United States regiment by taking their healing into their own hands. Right. Those of us who can travel the dimensions, those of us who can see what's happening in the future, those of us who have psychic abilities, those of us who use divination, such as speaking with our ancestors, or even speaking with ancestors, but even being able to speak on the other side, basically communicating with the dead. Death is an illusion. I believe that a part of this 250,000 that this new age Stasi, which we're referring to as gang stalking, some people refer to as stalking by proxy, that they are primarily stalking the psychics, the self-healers, the chosen, people with gifts, whether you realize you have a gift or not. I have offered natal chart readings to people and I get a lot of emails. A lot of y'all need to stop playing with me. The natal charts are not to tell you why you're being gang stalked. Only you know that. And I think a lot of us have a good idea why we're being gang stalked. There's a whole lot of us that don't have any clue. My heart goes out to you. But a lot of us have a good idea why we're being gang stalked. So a lot of you that are reaching out to me asking for natal chart readings to tell you why you're being gang stalked, deep in your heart, you 9 times out of 10 already know why. The natal chart is not to tell you or share with you why you're being gang stalked. It's to share with you what your gifts might be. So stop playing with me in my emails. You understand me? So the Stasi was performed between 1950 and 1990, where over 250,000 people who had been perceived to go against the regimen in some way, form, or fashion. And they were stalked daily at the peak with over 180,000 unofficial collaborators, which were basically civilians, which is basically what's happening today, bringing it up today in 2025 in the age of Aquarius, where the awakening is occurring, where everyone and everything will be exposed. They are using civilians to gang stalk everyday citizens. So let's see, what are some of the key functions and the key methods in doing this in today's society? Well, with the Stasi, just like the Stasi, it was surveillance. All aspects of daily life were monitored. All aspects. From what you ate throughout the day to where you shopped throughout the day, where you worked throughout the day, what you did with your time throughout the day. This happened in East Germany. It's happening today across the world. But I can really only speak for what's happening here in the United States. So the key function and the key method used is surveillance. Things like wiretapping, mail interception, bugging homes, tapping your phone, monitoring you, following you with your phone, following your location. It's very extensive human surveillance. They cross boundaries. And it is illegal, but who makes the laws? The same people that make the laws and say that such behavior is illegal are the same people who are incorporating this surveillance. History indeed repeats itself. Another key function and method is that they are trying to repress you. In East Germany, activity that sought to identify and dissolve any repression, which included arresting and imprisoning anyone who tried to either flee the country physically, mentally, or spiritually. The awakening is allowing people to flee the country, to flee the regiment, to flee the repression spiritually. The awakening of the new earth. And the old earth is vibrating off. You've heard me say this before. And the old earth is kicking and screaming and fighting the whole way out because the new earth does not benefit them. The new earth allows us to heal ourselves. The new earth allows us to birth our own children. The new earth allows us to grow our own food, keep our water clean, our air clean, and keep our earth nurturing us instead of killing us. They see what's happening and they are determined to stop it. And they are determined to make those who are a part of this new earth as miserable as they possibly can. Their end state is, because they're doing no touch psychological torture, monitoring you 24 hours a day, when you sleep, when you eat, when you go to the bathroom, when you're intimate with your partner. They are monitoring every single thing that you do. The end state is to drive you into a state of craziness to where you do something to them, right? Or you do something to yourself. Right. Either way, the awakened empath loses. Another key function and method that they are using is intelligence. They're spying and gathering secret information. Yeah, usually used for military intelligence. You think that's over? You think I'm overstepping my boundaries with that? It's a fact that the military has used people who have the ability to remote view, people who have the ability to be psychic, taking a remote view to other countries. They can astral project to other countries and they can see what's going on in these secret societies and how they might be working against the US. Now, granted, today they have tons of technology that can assist them with that, but they're still curious about the human being that has the ability to do that without AI and without technology. They are still collecting information on the so-called chosen individual that walks in their calling and that has these particular gifts. The self-healer, the psychic, the remote viewer, the channeler, the shaman, the astrologist, the one that overstands as above, so below, the one that studies the planets and can predict what's happening next. So they use this intelligence to spy and gather secret information about people who have these gifts, those of us who are using nature. We're not using technology. We're not using AI. We're using our God-given gifts that has been passed down to us from our ancestors, and we're connecting with nature and we're channeling information. They are the ones that are coming against the chosen. The chosen are the ones that are that they are watching. They're using surveillance to watch. The ones that they're trying to repress. They're trying to steal their gifts so that they can alchemize it and make it their gifts in some way. They would love the ideal that AI could remote view well, they can't remote view. They're remote viewing through the phone right now. But AI could have spiritual gifts like psychic intuition or the ability to heal. I'm not talking about healing with no robot. I'm talking about healing with energy, with healing with nature. We are an enigma to them. They can't figure us out. We are a peculiar people. And they're intimidated by us, and they will do anything to repress us. Speaking of intimidating, they use intimidation. They use intimidation in the Zerg program. They discredit, intimidate, and break down the individuals. They slowly break them down with no-touch torture. Using psychological manipulation and blackmail. Right. They make the individual speaking on the topic look crazy. They make them look like they don't know what they're speaking about. They try to discredit them. They try to say, oh, yeah, that was the past. But it is a proven fact that history indeed repeats itself. It is the age of information, the age of knowing, the age of knowledge. With the click of a button, you could look back and see what happened before. And if you're living it, if you're one of the chosen ones who are being gangstalked, if you're living it, you know it's happening right now. They want it. They want people who are chosen on this path, the ones that have been chosen to be gangstalked. They want us to look crazy. They want to say that we're collaborating with one another and that we're just feeding off of each other's energy. And it's really psychotic. We're having a psychotic episode. We're paranoid, that we are, having hallucinations. And thus far, I've never seen one person gangstalk say they had a hallucination. Not one. So this is a hostile regiment that's being used against the awakening people in the age of Aquarius. They don't have another way to go against it because the things of spirit cannot be touched. They cannot prevent the evolving of the empath, the evolving of the healer, the evolving that really truly overstands the concept of let thy food be thy medicine and let thy medicine be thy food. You know what they like to say about people of color? They like to say that high blood pressure runs in our families, that diabetes runs in our families, that we're more likely to have to unalive on the birthing table, that we're more likely to have our children be unalived on the birthing table. They love, the medical facility loves to spread that nonsense. The reason more people of color have things like blood pressure and diabetes and things of that sort is because of traditional diets that have been passed down since the days of slavery, where the slave was given the scraps of the hog to eat, and that was all they had. If all you eat is hog and nothing else, of course you're going to have high blood pressure. They push sugar like crazy. There was a time when they had soda machines in these children's schools. So the children on their break in between classes, they could drink a Coke. They push addiction to sugar. It has been said that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. It is a form of control, controlling the person's health through food. High blood pressure, diabetes, and all these things don't run in people of color's blood no more than it runs in any other race's blood. It is the diet. Let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food. That was a quote by Hippocrates, who, It has also been said that doctors, I don't remember who said this, but a doctor that does not know astrology is not a doctor at all. Right. That all doctors or people or healers need to also be an astrologist. Because as an astrologist, you know that what illnesses correlate with the person's stars. A healer needs to know what energies correlate with the person's stars, what energies correlate with the person's natal chart. Because someone with an Aries placement, I'm not going to say which placement that is, but someone with a strong Aries placement, they are more likely to have things like brain disorders, brain disease, cancer of the brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, things of that sort. People with strong Taurus placements, they're more likely to have things like thyroid issues, weight gain. Their thyroid is unregulated. People with heavy cancer placements, it's the heart, it's the breast. People with heavy Virgo placements, it's the digestive system, the intestines, the stomach. People with heavy Scorpio, it is the reproductive system, the prostate, the ovaries, the uterus. People with heavy Capricorn, it is the bones, it is the joints, it is the teeth. So it has been said in the past that a doctor that does not understand astrology is not a doctor at all. It is the healer that understands astrology and correlates it to illness. It is the healer that does that. This is what they want to repress, beloved. And this is unbelievable to others. They fight to discredit you, to intimidate you, to break you down. They fight to do that. And their techniques, I got to give it to them. It's pretty powerful. But I truly believe with my heart of all hearts that the empath will overcome, that the empath will continue to evolve, and that the empath will continue to vibrate the new earth in. Well, that's all I have for you today here on Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. If you like my energy, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. And if you're really feeling my vibe, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you know the next time that I upload. We'll chat with you later, empaths. We'll chat with you later, self-healers. Y'all have a good day and be safe out there, yeah?